There are so many NGOs in Nepal working in the field of environment. Why do you think the formation of HCI was significant?
So I think numbers is not the issue. How many or how. I think even size is not the issue. Resources is not the issue. The issue is how strategic can we be. So I think what we see in general is that Nepal today is being projected as a victim of climate change, and we have a very strong belief that we have to take a leadership position, because just projecting ourselves as a victim and then trying to get resources in the name of being a victim is not going to do it. So because the leadership gap is something that we've recognized, we feel that HCI can provide leadership in the climate change agenda, and so that is the positioning or the strategic place that we would like to occupy.
HCI has so many private sector entrepreneurs on its board of directors. How do you think they can contribute?
So in the world, anywhere in the world around us, you'll see that entrepreneurship, new ideas, resources, scaling, all these words that we use are things that the private sector have really mastered. Now, having said that, of course, the government has a role in policy, say quality control, in regulating. So this is not to deny the role of the government, but basically what we are saying is the kind of change and the kind of change at the scale that we seek, is possible only through the engagement of the private sector. And so I think, involving the private sector is key, because that's the sector that is growing. That's the sector that has, the best ideas, the best brains, the best HR. And so without the private sector on board, we cannot succeed. But again, let me repeat that we are not trying to undermine the role of other sectors.
The discussions on the climate doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Even Rio was considered a failure. How do you think HCI can meet its ambitious goals in this background?
So I am a firm believer that a small something is better than a big nothing. And so, conferences like Rio are all about a big nothing. So people expect a paper tiger to come out of it, or declaration. So I think, that's not the level at which we plan to work. We plan to work at the level where the communities, the human beings are being affected. And so it is not to, again, undermine, people who believe in large conferences and statements and conventions, but basically saying that even those conventions have to be based on reality on the ground. And so if we can really make differences on the ground, then we can start making differences in this global conversation. Now the fact is, climate is a global phenomena, but the solutions and the ideas that we have to create are also local. And so if we can be the bridge between the local solutions and the global conversation, then we are adding value. But if you have global conferences in isolation of what is happening locally, then I think it's a futile exercise.
Do you have a message for Nepali youth who are potentially the biggest sufferers from climate change?
So again, being young is the ability to innovate, the ability to take risks, the ability to leave your comfort zone, the ability to step out and try new things, it's the ability to organize, it's the ability. So there's so many attributes that you can attribute to young people. Now, without those attributes, we are never going to succeed. Okay, so for example, let's take a critical mass. In order to succeed, we need a critical mass. In a country where more than 50% of the population is below 40, where are you going to find that critical mass? It is among young people. So if young people are educated, they're aware, they know what the options are, and if they are willing to take action, then Nepal could be the place from where this global campaign, to fix, some of these global problems can actually happen. The only challenge is that Nepali youth have been, basically inculcated with a value that we are incapable, we are poor, we are landlocked. So there are a lot of negativity here. And so if we can tip, that conversation towards the positive, Nepali youth who are living in the Himalayas, living in this ecosystem, are in the best position to actually show the world that these challenges and these problems can be not only solved but actually proactively managed. So I think we have to give the youth a chance, and so our job really is to facilitate a platform whereby they can come together, form that critical mass, and then to act.